Welcome to the 29th video in our series about Unix tools. In this video, we will learn how to convert Python programs using spaces for indentation to use tabs, and how to convert Python programs using tabs for indentation to use spaces. What tools are required to do this? Expand and unexpand. Why do you need to know how to do this? Well, some companies insist you use tabs for indentations, and then other companies insist you use spaces. Python doesn't really care, but it requires you to be consistent. That means always use only spaces or always use only tabs. Never mix spaces and tabs. So, you need to be able to convert your programs so that your boss is happy and you meet the coding standards for the place you're working. So let's get started. We need to take a look. Oh, we have a handy hello program, and if we cat hello.py, you'll see it's a pretty silly hello world demo. And if we run it, it works fine. If you remember, we could use cat -a to see any control characters, so we can see if it has tabs or spaces or what. And you can see there are no tabs in this program. You have this program. It works well. You've worked hard on it. But your boss says, you have to use tabs for indentation. That's the company standard. Okay, we need to convert this thing. We don't want to go into Nano and change every 4 spaces to a tab by hand. It would take forever on a large program. I told you we need to use expand and unexpand. So let's take a look at those tools. And what we'd like to do right now, we want to go from spaces to tabs. So let's look at unexpand, and we'll pipe that through less. Convert blanks in each file to tabs, writing to standard output. That sounds wonderful. This is another filter, like sort and grep and cut and all those other tools we learned. So it's going to write the output to standard out, and we'll have to use redirection to save the changes. But that's great because it lets you keep the original and you can compare. What are the arguments? It says convert all blanks instead of just initial blanks. Initial blanks are blanks at the beginning of the line. All is any sequence of blanks that matches anywhere on the line. Most of the time, you do not want -a for a Python program. Now, you noticed that our indentation was using 4 characters, so we don't want the default 8-byte tab. We're going to use -t to say we want 4-byte tabs. This advanced stuff is used for data files where you want to have tab stops. We're not doing that. Every tab we're going to use has 4 spaces, so this is going to be relatively simple. Let's say unexpand. I want my spaces. Anytime I have 4 spaces, I want a tab. Otherwise, don't change the file. I'm going to read hello.py, and we'll just send it to the screen first. And you say, that didn't quite do what I expected. This really looks like 8 spaces to me. But remember that we can run it through cat -a, and we'll see, no, it's really 1 tab, 1 tab, 1 tab. It's doing the right thing. It just looks strange if you don't pipe it through some tool. And if you're super paranoid, remember you can run it through hexdump minus VC, which is the gold standard, and that will actually show you the byte value for everything. And if you remember, before print hello world, we should have some kind of tab, which should be this. Wow, it's hard to mark one byte. It should be this byte, should be a tab, and you see, yes, it's number 9, it's a tab. So, unexpand is working, and we can just save that output to new hello.py. And if we look, you'll see new hello.py has the wrong permissions. We're going to have to update that. So we say chmod, the user needs to add executable, and the rest is okay, I think. So new hello.py, let's run it. It works. And if we hex dump it, in case you don't trust the redirection, yes, it used a tab here, and it should use a tab before the raise, which is this byte. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 byte. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 byte is a tab. So yes, it worked. We're halfway there. We can take a file that has spaces for indentation and convert it to a file that uses tabs. Can we go back? Maybe you did everything with tabs and you changed companies, and now you have a different boss, and this boss says, I hate tabs. I don't want any tabs. I want spaces. Okay, so that it always looks the same, whether you use cat or VI or nano or whatever. I don't want any tabs in my Python code. And you say, yes, sir. And you have to find out, wow, how can I do that? Well, unexpand changes spaces to tabs. Expand is the other tool. Expand will change tabs back to spaces. And so we don't want 8 spaces, we want 4 spaces. We better check the help and see how we can do that. Okay, what's it say? It says initial, do not convert tabs after non-blanks. We probably do want this for a Python program. And then not 8. So we're going to use the -T option. Again, this long stuff is for data files that have tab stops. All our tabs are the same size, 4. So we need a -I and a -T4. And that should do it. So let's test it. Expand, -I, -T4, new hello.py, and first we'll send it to the screen. Looks good, but we don't trust it. So we'll go to cat and run it through cat -A, and we'll see there are no tabs. Look for those magic tab things. But you may want that gold standard. So run it through hexdump and you'll know for sure. And maybe your program's long, you might have to run it through less if your screen isn't large enough to show the whole program. It turns out this one is small. Let's take a look. Before we had the raise system exit, we should have 4 spaces. So raise starts in the second column, right? RAIS, there it is. So we need spaces. Spaces are 20. 0A is the new line, and then we have 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces. Okay, we know for a fact it's using 4 spaces for indent. And we can check up here too. This one has 4 spaces right here. So 1, 2, 3, and you say, oh no, where's the other one? Here it is. So don't forget to start the right place. And then 70 is a P for print. And you say, how do I know 70 is a P? Man ASCII. And then when you look for a lowercase p or an uppercase P, you have to look at the fields. So let's take hex a decimal. That's what shows in the hex dump. So you find the small p and you say it's 70 in the hex dump. And space, I told you space was 20. Here's space, and in the third column is the hex. Right here, it tells you that's the hex. So, and tab, horizontal tab, it's a 9 in hex. So we've completed the mission. Expand and unexpand. It's easy to do. We can verify with hexdump. If you don't know what hex byte to look for, man ASCII. I want to thank you for listening, and please come back next time for our next video.